Welcome to Quantum Quest Conversations. I'm your host, Megan,
And I'm your host, Heidi.
the podcast where curious conversations lead the way into awakening, growth, and infinite discovery. Whether you're just beginning your quest or deep in your awakening, you'll find inspiration through stories, lessons, and personal experience. Settle in, open your heart, and let curiosity lead the way.
Well, hello, everybody, and thank you for joining Quantum Quest Conversations. Today, we have a very special conversation. It's living a life of gratitude. And we're thrilled to have you here, and we hope you like this podcast. And if you do, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Thank you.
So, we're talking about living a life of gratitude today. And when I wake up in the morning, I've been trying to get in a better habit of meditating and taking notes, and especially kind of asking for guidance on what we're going to talk about and see if spirit can come through and give a little word of wisdom. And wow, what came through today, I have to share it with you.
Oh, yeah, please
So,
do.
I have my little journal here, and it was interesting. It Spirit came through and it said, "I come bearing gifts for you," and it was a really strong vibration, and it was hard for me to hold. So that message kind of like went on hold, and then like another message came through, and it was a female presence, and it was talking about how we put ourselves like in this cage, and once we start living this life of gratitude, like we break like free from this cage, and our world is just like lighter and like more freeing. And um and then it was like the messages swap back out, then the female energy like went away, and I was like, can we try again? What are the gifts that you come bearing? Let's see if we can get that other energy like that came through, and see if we can finish that message. And it was super cool. So it came through and it said that there was three gifts it came to bring, and it's free will, consumption, and honesty. And I was like, did I hear that right? Like, remember, my request was, how is this, gonna all loop together for gratitude? And it was crazy. So it was talking about free will is it's a gift of choice that we're given, and that the consumption is what we I was so confused about consumption. I'm like, I thought it meant like what we consume like in our bodies or anything, but it was talking about energetically, what do we consume? And it was saying that we energetically, like the people that we're around, or not being grateful, having a victim mentality, or having like this low energy around us, like we're consuming that. So it was saying, like, you have a gift of consumption, and you don't have to consume like this negativity. You can consume like, positivity, and live this life of gratitude. And then honesty, it said, like truth seeing, um, like, but it was talking about within in yourself, like not like how we want other people to tell the truth, because that was like my first instinct to think like, oh, I feel like people aren't honest, and but it's talking about being honest with yourself. So it wrapped it all up saying free will, honesty, and consumption. It said, so guard what enters your field, choose with intention, and honor your inner truth. And it said, if you do all of that, then gratitude becomes your natural state, not something you practice, but something that you just naturally are. And my
Wow.
mind was blown as
Mine
usual.
is too, especially because we give consumption such a negative connotation,
Yes.
right? And when you said the word, I was like eager to hear what you had to say. And it's a beautiful thing what you said. Yes, we have the free will of consuming good things
Yes.
and things that are invisible. Yet
Yes.
we prefer to focus on consuming tangible things that at the end they just don't belong to us really.
It all pieced together so perfectly because yesterday, out of nowhere, I was just like in the crankiest mood and I could not put my finger on it. I was like getting easily annoyed at my kids, which I really can manage. Like they don't like back in the day it used to bother me, but I've been able to manage my energy more. But I'm like, it was something was triggering me that like every little thing was annoying me. And with this message coming through today, I realized I was consuming somebody else's like bad energy. I was consuming like, well, I was letting other, thoughts kind of spiral in my head that were so useless and pointless and assuming things about people. And it was like I was letting that negative energy come into me. And then this spiral effect where I didn't have to start my day off like that. I could have looked at the brighter side of things.
Well, for me, I think living a life of gratitude is something that I've learned since I was very little. My mom taught us always to say thank you for everything.
Yeah.
Even when, if you didn't want something that someone offered to you, we had to say, and I say we had to because it was her rule. It was like, no, thank you, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's something that just came like second nature, I guess, because of that teaching. And so to me, living in gratitude has always been the number one thing for me. Um, and so I remember when we were recently married, my husband was like, "You don't have to say thank you for everything." And I was like, "It's not that I have to, it's that I want to."
Yes.
And then I learned that when as I grew in my spiritual journey, I learned that when you live in gratitude, the universe, because the universe don't hear the words or care about the words so much as it does about the energy that you put in.
Yeah.
And so when you live in a life of gratitude, the universe gives you more of what you're grateful for. But when you live in constant complaint about the things that you don't like, you don't want, you don't desire, well, the universe is not that's gonna get you or anything, but it's just understanding the energy. It's gonna give you more of that things that you complain of. And so that's why it's so important to live in gratitude. Gratitude because we have a roof over our heads. Gratitude because we have a soft pillow to put our heads on, a soft bed, a warm room, a warm meal, whatever that meal is, even if it's just a banana, but you're still putting something that someone in your stomach that someone else might not have. And so when we live in gratitude, I think the important thing is we're so grateful we want to share some of what we have, not what we have left or what we don't want, but the things that we do want and the things that we do like. That shows gratitude because you're going to have so much more of it because that's the law of the universe, but you have enough to share. What do you think?
Yeah, it reminds me of a lesson that I learned from my husband. Like there's always like these memories that just stick in my head that I know were like huge life lessons that like I kind of overcame. My husband was gonna donate money. And I only had a 20 in my purse. And I was like, oh, like, don't you have like a couple dollars? Like, I don't want to give him like a whole 20. And it sounds so silly and so greedy, but how many times do we catch ourselves doing that? And I remember him looking at me and him saying just kind of what you just said, like, you know, it's going to come back to you. And the logical brain wants to think like, well, how is that 20 coming back in my purse? And that's not what he meant at all. And it was just so calm and so subtle. And just, the way he just looked at me when he said it was going to come back to me and that it is okay to give up the $20 bill. I have like I always go back to that memory now, and it is like it will come back, 100% full. The universe will provide when you're helping other people out, when you are showing gratitude, and we can all help each other out, and it will come back in different ways. So I completely agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, it does always come back. And like you said, not maybe in the form of money, but it comes on like someone will help you when you need it, like, I don't know, load bags of mulch, let's say in the
Yeah.
springtime, and it does come. And I think it's such a beautiful thing to be happy givers and just understand that when we give, it's like the law of one, right? We're all one. And so when we give someone else, it's gonna come back because of karma,
Yeah.
because we're the same. And so karma, it's such a beautiful thing. It's not There's no good karma, there's no bad karma, there's just karma. And when you give happily, that's gonna come back in any way, shape, or form. And I remember my grandmother used to say, well, if it doesn't come back to me, I don't mind as long as it comes back to one of my children. And I
Wow.
felt that's such a beautiful thing because, yeah, like maybe you don't see it um, to come back, like you don't see coming back to you, but you'll see it with one of your children. And it's such a great thing.
It is. I remember as I kind of got on this spiritual journey a couple years ago, listening to a podcast, and the lady was saying how she has a gratitude journal, and she, writes every morning, things that she's grateful for. And I remember listening to that and just thinking like, ugh, like I'm just not like a journal person. Like I just can't do that. And it's so funny because I my mindset has completely changed. I highly recommend if you're one that's listening that thinks like I could never start a gratitude journal, just try it. Just give yourself like, hey, 30 days. Let me, try this, gratitude journal. You can even, you could write it on a piece of paper. You don't even have to go out and buy one. Or if you want to, you could go out and buy one. I got one at the Dollar Tree, and it actually had like prompts for every day of like different things you could be like grateful for, which made it really easy. Someone that's not used to just journaling or thinking like I have no thoughts to give, it was easy because it had prompts. And I ended up doing it maybe like for like 3 months straight. And what ended up happening is I feel like I no longer really need to do a gratitude journal because I just catch myself now daily, like just being grateful that I was able to buy groceries for my kids and provide for them, getting in my car and it's takes me wherever I want on a whim. If I decide at the last minute I'm going to do a road trip, like, you know, to have all these just a click of a button. Like, we run out of toiletries at the house. I click on Amazon, reorder something, and it's at my doorstep like a day later. Like, there is so much to be grateful for. And I think it is easy to get caught up in that trap of just taking things for granted. But I recommend starting a journal because it will help you to get into that mindset and where those thoughts just come more like natural to you. Do you have a gratitude journal or do anything like that?
No, I do not, but I do. I heard something like what you said. It could be something that a person might practice with is like you have a jar, like mason jar, and you put little papers where you say one thing a day. And there are so many.
Oh,
every day,
yeah.
but one thing a day, you pick one and then you fold the paper, put in the jar, and before you know, you like it's gonna be full. And then you appreciate because sometimes we tend to have this idea of that we don't have enough, or
Yeah.
and when you see that jar filled, then you see, wow, I do have a lot. And I don't know if you know there's so many material things that we can be grateful for, like just the fact that we have shelter,
Hmm.
but there's way more spiritual things that we do not see that we can be grateful for. Because at the end of the day, things are just that, things. But, like having a friend, like having your children healthy, having children,
Yeah.
having a partner that even if it drives you crazy sometimes and you drive them crazy, like, but they're there to help you. And if you don't have one, well, you might have a family member that there is for you. You have parents that love you. And there's always something, and some of us might have some spiritual gifts, like the fact of having parents that love you, and other people might not, but they have things that the other person don't have.
Yeah.
And because I don't know about you guys, but I love watching these shows of abandoned houses on YouTube, and I got my husband into it and he likes it now. But to me, that show is more, those shows are a reflection, a deep reflection of how we think we're masters of so many things, and we take things for granted, but then you die and those things get abandoned there. Nobody cares. They're just there to stay and rot, and you're gone with nothing.
Right.
Nothing but the gratitude, the friendships you created, the love, the hugs of your children, a mother, your partner, a friend, the good intentions you had. There's so many things I could go on and on and on, but I think you guys got the gist of it. And so, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. Gratitude is a beautiful thing.
It is. And I think changing your mindset and being grateful for the things that you think like happen to you. I know we've mentioned in previous podcasts that, you know, things are happening for you, not to you. And a lot of people think like, oh no, you don't understand my childhood, or you don't understand, maybe my parents or my friends or my husband or the situation that I'm in. But try your very best to try to find like the positive side of something that you can look back and think like, oh, that was so hard. um i I think about in college, I didn't have a car and I had to pay for my own college. So I was working and going to school, and I found a job that was like, it was like 3 miles away from like where I was living. It was a deli. And I had to walk to work like every single day, rain, snow, sleet. Um, and I could look back and be like, oh my gosh, like, why didn't my parents buy me a car? Or, why, whatever. You could think all the different things. But the reality is, I did actually have a lot of friends that chipped in and would pick me up and take me there. There was older people that worked at the deli. I'm like this college kid, and I'll be like, I was like hungover, partying the night before, and this old man from the deli would come pick me up at like 7 in the morning from my college house to take me to work. But I look back and I, can laugh on it now. And I don't think like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe I had to do that. Like it really, like, one, I didn't realize how much I love walking and like being one with nature. Like I look at that and like I was able to like clear my mind. And I don't, I probably was in a meditative state and I didn't know it back then. But I look back and I'm thinking like, oh, I really appreciated that. I really did enjoy it. Um, but it also gave other people opportunity to help me out, and you got to think of it that way. Like if you turn down people from helping you, you're giving, like, you're not letting them have an opportunity um, to help. And, you know, then you're losing out on an opportunity to be grateful for that person for helping. So it's all like this big circle, and we all should take the time to help each other out and allow people to help us. And that circle of gratitude will just continue and flourish.
I once met a person that said, you remind me of him, but it was years ago. And I said, why don't you help? I remember we were at the university and there was this lady, like a cleaning lady, and some things fell and I was helping and I asked my friend, why don't you help her? Said, what do I get out of it? And well, what you get out of it, like because there's some people that think like that, and you do get so much. Like I feel like the promise of our creator is you may not get things back or but just the love that you feel when you help someone, that's enough of gift back to you. It doesn't have to be anything else, just helping someone else and having the opportunity, like you will said, of helping someone, that's gift enough you
Yeah.
know and so but yeah, and going back to what you were saying, the fact that but it takes either a very evolved soul to see that, or it takes years. Because when things happen to you that you don't like the childhood you were mentioning, and you complain and you are upset and you fret and you wonder and you ask God why things happen to you, and then you lose a job or you lose a partner, something, and you are always complaining. But as you grow older, now that I'm in my 50s, I see that all those things were really not bad.
No.
Every little thing got something way better. And it's easier said than being in the moment and realizing it. It takes a lot, a lot. But I can tell you, it's gonna go away and you're gonna see through it. And I remember the last time that I went through something really difficult, I kept thinking of the tunnel, and I was like, the light is gonna come soon. The light's gonna come soon. And it was years. I'm not gonna lie. It was not easy. But eventually the light, I could see the light. And as the process went by, now I treasure those times because it was a catalyst for a lot of growth.
Hmm.
And, those things will happen. And when we do want to see it and we trust in the process, then that makes it so much easier. Even if we're in pain, it does help.
My husband was telling me that, I don't look at things half full. And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? Out of anybody, I swear, I really, I really go out of my way to look at the cup half full instead of half empty. I am always like grasping at straws, trying to find like what is the lesson in this. Like you were saying, like some things are just a catalyst. Like it's just to push us, out of our comfort zone into something bigger and better. And we can, like, I don't want to make everything sound like it's sunshine and roses. Like some things are crappy. So you probably, went through something crappy in your life or your childhood. I'm not trying to sugarcoat it or say like that bad thing did not happen to you, because 100%, I think we all need, it's so healing to look at ourselves in the mirror and be like, this bad thing happened to me. It was not
Yeah.
okay, and I deserve better. However, where the gratitude part can kind of come through is where like you're like, I'm not going to carry that on, for this next generation. I'm not going to do something like that. I'm grateful that I was able to see that that was not okay, and I'm not going to carry that on, with this next generation. So sometimes, when we say to be grateful for everything, we're not trying to just
Minimize. Yeah.
exactly not minimize the situations people have been in. And I know there's been some really hard times, and you deserve to cry over them and be held and comforted and told that you didn't deserve that. However, I think where the gratitude comes in is just appreciate that you're not going to deal with that ever again, and you learned a lesson, and, you're going to do better in the future, for your loved ones.
Yeah, especially like not everybody knows our stories, right? But
Right.
we both went through a lot of hardship, even as
Hmm.
kids. And I mean, I can tell you from my own personal experience, I went through things that I really thought I was not going to recover.
Hmm.
And, now I do exactly what you're saying. It's just I don't want my family because when I see the patterns and I see that my parents went through something similar, and so I kind of understand, well, they didn't know any better. Or my
Right.
grandparents, they didn't know any better. And then it goes generations. And it is so true. Seeing that, awakening to that, it's part of our spiritual awakening. It's just seeing that we can save our children, our grandchildren, our future generations to have to go through that by just awakening, by just seeing it and working through that, seeing introspectively. It's not just seeing outside of what other people did to us because we can do nothing about that. That's out of our control.
Right.
What we can control, it's how we react, how we keep going in life, how we treat others, and what we
Right.
do to better ourselves and better our experience in this world. And so I really think that now that Thanksgiving is coming, well, this conversation is valid for all year long.
Yeah.
Because we should live in gratitude with gratitude every day. But now that Thanksgiving is coming, just try maybe to start like the journal that you, Megan, were talking about, or any other way. But like Megan said, it's always almost like so easy to do it now. Like you can go to the Dollar Tree and for $1.25, right?
Yeah.
You can get that and just fill it out, and it's gonna come like a second nature to you. And then you don't have to do anything, just live in gratitude.
Yeah. Yeah. I just wanted to touch on your point about like the way I think a lot of us were raised. It seems like that is a hot topic and people are talking about it. Um, and everybody had it worse, and it's like, it's not like that. I think our
Mhm.
parents did the best that they could do with what they know. And I think our world just keeps evolving, and we know a little bit, more now in this generation, and they knew a little bit more than their generation. And we all, are just doing our best with what we know. And if we don't think that we're messing up our kids, we would be crazy to think that. But, I think our goal is just to do the best that we can and be a little bit better each time and each generation, and continue to just heal.
So another beautiful thing to remember is that when we are teaching, if you guys have children, to teach them gratitude, but first by example. Because we tend to tell children a lot of things, but if they don't see it firsthand, it's kind of difficult for them to grasp it. So if they see that you live in a life of gratitude, and something as simple like I'm a stay-at-home mother, and so the breadwinner is my husband. So every time we go to the supermarket, and I see, say, like my fruit bowl full of everything that I love. The fruit is my favorite. I always tell him, thank you for everything. Not from a meek point of view, not from oh, he's the boss point of view. 'Cause he's in our household is not like that. We're very like appreciative of what each other does for the house. Um, but just because you live in gratitude, and I, without me teaching, my children start saying thank you to my husband. Thank you for the fruit, Dad. Thank you for the cookies, or thank you for whatever.
Yeah,
And that it's a beautiful thing to see because they're not taking anything for granted. But it's just as important to feel appreciated by, your children or your partner. And when you're saying thank you, then they start saying thank you too. It's like it's a very contagious thing,
it is.
you
We
know.
started like along with our night prayers, like we would always pray for things that we wanted to pray for, but now we are adding gratitude into it. So every night the kids go around and also add like what they were grateful for, whether that's just for the day or just in their life in general. And it is really like some things that they've said that like just shocked me. Like my one son was like, I am so grateful for this body that I'm in. I'm like, I like where did that come from such a little 6-year-old boy? But they really are opening up their eyes and like tuning into their heart and really being grateful for what they've been blessed with, and it's really cool to see how that's been unfolding every night.
That's
um
beautiful. Children can be so special and grateful, right?
yeah. Something else that had come through during my meditation this morning was gratitude is not passive. And I think that's kind of what we've been talking about already, is how like you have to go out there and like do actions like helping other people, and how that comes back 100% to you in different ways. But it said it's active, it's choosing what you consume, what you choose to do, and how you tell the truth to yourself. And those are all active things that you can do that in turn brings gratitude to your life.
Just the fact, like we can be even, this might sound silly, but just the fact that we can see, nature,
Yeah.
that we can appreciate our children little faces.
Mm-hmm.
Those are little things that everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of people we are blessed with, or touching, touching their faces, touching someone else, the warmth of a hand. There's there's always something. Like we can sit here and complain, oh, but you don't understand. I don't have things, or I live alone, or I don't have friends. But we all of us in different ways have something to be grateful for. And the fact that you're listening to this, it's something to, we are grateful for you listening. And I feel like it's a thing that to be grateful, not to us, but to be grateful for the synchronicity that brought you here. The fact that you're listening to this podcast might is not a mistake. It's maybe the universe talking to you. And so yes, we do have a lot of things to be grateful. And when you start on a daily basis living like that, you will feel your heart expanding and wanting more of it because it feels warm and expansive. And so that's all I have to say about gratitude right now.
Yeah. And what Heidi said, I 100% agree. Thank you, thank you, thank you for tuning in. And we are doing this to hopefully spark something within you and for you to get a message out of this and be able to pass that gratitude along to more people so our world can be a better place. Our world really is a better place. I think people focus so hard on like the negative and oh my gosh, what's going on in the world? And it's like, well, guess what? You can make a change. You can be grateful for what is going on around you. And that will help the energy rise. That will, combat all this negativity that we see, in the news or social media. So, be grateful and help, raise this energy up. It's all about what we consume. We don't have to choose to consume all that nonsense. And it's not being
Yeah.
naive. It's just, we can protect ourselves.
Yeah, and please don't forget, help two girls here and like, subscribe, comment. It does help a lot, especially us that we are, just starting, and we'll send you gratitude your way.
Yes. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you so much for being part of today's Quantum Quest. We hope this conversation awakens something new within you, a spark, a question, a remembering. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. And until next time, keep exploring with an open mind and an open heart. Bye for now.